Hello everybody and welcome back to RogueTech, where we are currently getting to an evac zone. We've already eliminated a convoy that was right through here, and we've eliminated two out of the 4 guards. The other guard unit is this Gallant here, but there's also a Seth heavy bomber up over this way in stealth. We know it's there. It has not fired at us as of yet. So it's got a full salvo, and it could do a lot of damage. We'll see what ends up happening with that. There's also reinforcements out over here that we may choose not to fight. We'll see. So our crossbow is going to want to head up over this direction. I was hoping that we get an LOS over here. We don't, so I'm just going to park here. We could fire with 20% hit odds. We kind of have a lot of ammo left, so I'm going to do this and start chipping away at the side armor of this vehicle. It's got a lot of armor. So that'll be fine. The real question now is, does that Seth actually use its weapons? We managed to shoot down the Ifrit that was over here without it using its weapons, mostly because it chose not to for a turn. But it was a lot closer to us. Okay, I like this choice. Continuing to soften up the armor of that tank. Sounds good. Next up is going to be our Grasshopper. Now, the Grasshopper wants to move out over this way. We may move it up this direction. Actually, the Grasshopper's a little bit on the weak side right now. I'm going to put it in cover out over here. Okay. And then the Black Knight is the one that I want to send out over this direction to try to find that stealth. To try to get eyes on. So we're going to send it around this way and then to the evac zone is the idea. The Trebuchet is going to... We could position it out over here and fire on this Sentinel. That is out of effective range, and I don't think we're going to. I think we're going to start crossing the river here. Position about here. And fire 30% hit odds on this tank. Continuing to soften up this side armor. Looks good. This tank won't last too much longer. It's not really the biggest of concerns. I mean, it can potentially pack a punch with the APOD bolt-ons. But, yeah, I'm not too concerned about this. That machine gun array could be devastating, though. Specifically to our Centaur. So if the Centaur engages, it should be a killing blow. Otherwise, we should probably send the Centaur after the Seth. That makes a lot of sense to me. So the Hunchback is moving forward and continuing to fire up over here. I like this choice. Continuing to soften up. And then they have some movers out over here. Just one, the Chameleon. Okay. It fires at the hoplite with a large laser. The hoplite's going to be abandoning this position fairly soon. So that's reasonably fine for the moment. Oh, they have a 4th unit out over here that we don't see. Okay. That's fine. Are we going to see it? Okay. It's firing on our Centaur and getting absolutely nothing done. That was a fair amount of LRMs that it fired there, and that is a Trebuchet. Okay. Noted. So I think our Centaur absolutely should come out this direction and engage somewhere out here. We can sit here, or even here. That would be 9 evasive and in cover. We don't know where the Seth is, so we don't know the direction to turn.
Roger.
It's there. I thought it was up over here. That's interesting. Okay. Well, we're going to fire on this tank here. It could potentially do a lot of damage to us with this machine gun array. So we want to soften it up quite a lot. It gets to move phase 23, which is right now. We'll see what it does. But it could... Well, the Centaur's pretty fresh. Actually, the Centaur's completely fresh in its armor. It's probably okay. Ow. Yeah, those machine guns doing a number to our Centaur's armor there. But it had a hard time hitting us. Okay, phase 19. This is probably the Seth. We can't see it. It fell off of our sensors, apparently. But where's it going to go? Black Knight? Centaur? Over here and attack Word of Blake? We'll see. It hasn't decided yet. Okay. Wherever it went, we don't know. It's got stealth. At this time, the hoplite is, I think, actually going to come up into this cover up over here.
Confirmed.
And I want to lob another artillery up at these guys up over here, I feel like. These two are kind of close together, so we'll just toss a thumper over this way. That was not a great shot. Do we get knocked down? No. Okay. So that's all good. Next up is going to be these guys moving out here for a bit, but we're going to move our Shadowhawk in shortly. Now, lowest armor is on this left side. They're shooting at our Shadowhawk, and they stray-shotted our Centaur? That's rude. Our Centaur's armor is getting low. No doubt about that. So I want to move the Shadowhawk in over here. And I want to melee this guy in its side arc. 93.5% chance. Successful melee. And that's quite a lot of damage into that thing. It shouldn't survive another round. So the Cyclone moves up and does not fire. Next up is going to be our Grasshopper. The Grasshopper wants to position up over here. Unfortunately, it doesn't get an LOS to attack here. That's very sad. So next up is going to be this Griffin. The Griffin jumps and lobs a couple of LRMs, but doesn't hit. Okay. At this point... I'm just thinking here. I feel like we need to eliminate this guy.
Consider me there.
I also feel like this isn't going to do the trick. But we don't want that machine gun array to be used on our Centaur again. That's for sure. So the Firestarter is moving up. We've done a lot of damage to this guy. But we're just not quite in position to take it out. That's very sad. No doubt about that. So at this point, our Rifleman basically just needs to sprint forward. It has no targets to shoot at. And who else can we fire with? The Trebuchet. Okay. So the Trebuchet will get a shot off at the Gallant here, but I don't expect it to actually take it down. So that means we'll have to disengage from the Gallant with the Centaur. We should be able to move the Centaur first. In theory. They're continuing to get good shots on the hoplite here. We only have 3 evasive, so I can't say I'm shocked about that, but they're definitely getting good shots there.
What can I do for
the Trebuchet is going to advance forward up over here.
Don't need to tell me twice.
And we're going to do what we can here.
Here we go.
Okay. We don't penetrate the armor, but we don't expect to there. The plan is to disengage with the Centaur and head off over here to try to scout out where that Seth is. We do not want to get hit with those machine guns again. That's for sure. So the Hunter is attacking the Gallant. Okay, that's a good shot. I like it. And our Black Knight is going to also advance up over here. I'd love to get... Hi! There's the Seth. Wow, and look at those hit odds. It didn't actually move. Okay. We are absolutely going to focus this thing down as quick as we can. From this angle, yeah, we've got a plan. We've already softened it up quite a bit with that shot. That was an excellent shot there. Unfortunately, we don't get to move much more this round. But we'll see what our allies do. I hope to see them also attacking the Seth, but they chose to attack the Gallant. I don't like that choice. Not in this situation. Okay, we'll see what one of these mediums out here wants to do. For the moment, I'm really not very concerned about these. We've done a little bit of damage to them. Attacking the Centaur at that range with 9 evasive? Yeah, you're not going to get anything out of that. That's really not a good shot. I don't like that at all. Okay, so next up, I would love to see this Hunchback focusing on the Seth, and that is indeed what we see. It fires its missiles, which does cause the Seth to fire its AMS. That is excellent. Next, what I want to do is I want to take the Centaur out about... Looks like 8 is the best we can do. We'll position it here, and we're going to fire all that we can at this guy. This is a laser blast, Seth, but those missiles are what I'm concerned about. These are probably bombs of some type. So we're going to fire at this thing, and yes, it triggers its AMS, but this is good. We want its AMS triggered.
LRMs are out.
So that's 12 from 22 hit, and we continue to soften up the Seth. Now, the Seth is going to get to move on phase 21 here, and we'll see how it chooses to move. At this point, the Gallant is going to move. Indirect fire on the Centaur, and it gets a lot of hits there. For 8 evasive, indirect. Wow. Okay, so now the Seth is going to move. This is, once again, the danger zone. But if it just doesn't move and doesn't fire again, then we're very happy. But we shouldn't count on that. It'll probably move, it'll probably fire. And it might be very devastating. Okay, it just didn't move and didn't fire.
Ready for orders.
I have questions, but we'll take it. I'm going to lob artillery out over this way.
I'm on it.
An excellent shot there. That was phenomenal.
SRMs are out.
Those aren't SRMs. Those are chaff countermeasures, but whatever. I get what you're saying. So the fire starter is going to move up and hit the Seth in its weak flank, but it didn't actually hit it. That's okay. At this point, I'm feeling really good about this. Like, really, really good. We do want to move in on the Seth a bit. They're continuing to fire on the Shadowhawk there, and whatever they shot, they missed. So that's all good. This mission with the 2 heavy bombers, if they had actually utilized the heavy bombers, could have gone very badly indeed. I'm not sure why they didn't. But that's another triggering of the AMS. The Seth can't have very many more AMS left. Cyclone closes in. Also firing. They're focusing nicely on this Seth. I like it. This is the exact right target. That is phenomenal. So next up is going to be additional Word of Blake units. Griffin jumping and firing on the Seth. There's that AMS out of ammo notification that we love to see. We are extraordinarily happy to see that.
Standing by.
Now the rifleman is going to move up over here, and we're going to continue to fire on the Seth. We are outside of the stealth range, but we're going to take this shot anyway. We did miss all of them. At 10% hit odds, that's not surprising.
Damn it.
Okay. Things are looking very up here, no doubt about it.
Good to
The
go.
trebuchet is going to position about here. This is within the minimum... Ideal range is just outside of the stealth field. Okay, we're going to position here, and I'm still going to take this shot. Yeah, this is still the better shot to take.
This should be
Beautiful.
good.
Continuing to chip down that Seth. 50% hit odds there looks reasonably good. And this thing, we don't actually have sensors on it for the moment because of the unit that's moving right now. But when we do have sensors on the Seth, we'll see its armor is very low in this flank. I hate this choice. Don't go for the Gallant at this point.
Commander.
Because we are simply going to melee it from the same front arc here. And it should die to this.
Attempting physical attack.
We're probably going to take some fire in the Shadowhawk from long range, but that's also probably completely fine. I wish we had, you know, eyes on what was happening there. That would be nice, but sometimes that just doesn't happen. Okay, so next up, we're going to have our Grasshopper. The Grasshopper is going to move up over here. And I'm going to shoot at this Seth with everything we've got. These hit odds aren't great, but we'll take it. We're firing blind. Ooh, plus 15.
Got it, Commander.
Regardless, we managed to get a little bit of damage into the Seth there. That's great. But this mech is the one that I'm really counting on to shoot down the Seth. Unfortunately, our hit odds aren't great.
Here comes the ship.
That didn't go as well as I'd like, as well as I would like. We still have our Black Knight though, and the Black Knight is here in point blank range, and this should finish it off. Look at how weak this armor is, like across the board.
Confirmed.
Yeah, internal damage there. We destroyed a lot of their weapons.
Solid connection
So at
now.
this point, there's a lot less that Seth can do, but it's not gone yet. That was really close to taking it out. Unfortunately, our damage spread out over all three of those sections basically evenly, which is not great. We want it to all hone in on one point, right? So that's fine. The Shadowhawk is okay. I don't mind this. We get the automatic brace from melee, so the Shadowhawk will be fine. And they're so far away. Okay, phase 10. So that's going to be an allied unit here, this Hunchback. That could shoot down the Seth here, and it does. Phenomenal. Okay, so the heavy bombers were completely ineffectual. Neither of them ever actually fired, which is very strange. I don't know why they wouldn't fire. That's incredibly strange, actually. That's so much of their damage that they just threw away for no reason. I don't know. The AI in this game does weird things. It's definitely not perfect.
Orders.
So we need to decide, do we want to fight these guys? Or do we want to evac? Honestly, at this point, I feel like fighting them is the way to go. We should be able to get them cleared up pretty quickly once our fire support is brought to bear. We'll have to close in on them, but we've already done quite a lot to this Sentinel just with our hoplite. They're firing rear arc on our trebuchet, which is fine. I'm not shocked about that, I suppose.
Good to go.
So I think the hoplite is just going to continue to hit this Sentinel here. Do we fire the ER medium laser? I think the heat is too much. So we're just going to fire this as is. Ooh, structure exposure on that Sentinel. I like it. So we'll be able to eliminate these mechs quite quickly once we actually get, you know, in range and can fire at them properly.
Waiting on
For
you,
now,
Commander.
our trebuchet is able to go up over here, where we actually do have direct LOS.
Sprinting.
So we can fire at this Sentinel, which is very weakened.
Time to die.
Hand and upper arm destruction. I was hoping to see it go away there, but no such luck. That's okay. I'm not too concerned about it. This Hunter moves up, also attacks that Sentinel. Destroys the shoulder. Okay. So who do we move next? That would be the Shadowhawk. So the Shadowhawk is out of range, and we can sprint the Shadowhawk out over, say, this way.
Good to go.
It's still going to be out of range, but we can position it there for now.
Good to go.
And then the crossbow, can we get this anywhere where it'll have a direct LOS? The answer is no. We can position it about here, and then lob a couple of missiles at actually the highest hit odds here are the Chameleon, of all things. Okay, we'll take it. We'll soften it up just that little bit. Fantastic. So now there's more allies moving. So we're going to see this Griffin, this Firestarter both move. The Griffin jumps and fires at the Chameleon. Gets no hits there. Okay. I don't love that. That's definitely not ideal. Okay, who is this moving? Ah, the Whitworth is actually breaking cover and heading forward. I like that. That's good for us.
Daniel.
So the Black Knight is going to need to sprint down this road. It's out of range, and it's going to need to get closer. That Scorpion is firing on the Whitworth and getting no damage done. Okay. Certainly not ideal. Firestarter is not firing at all. And now it's going to be the Chameleon moving. If the Chameleon doesn't move away from the Sentinel, I have questions. We'll see what it does, though. Any moment now, Chameleon. There we go. Okay, I guess that's away, but it's not very away. It's not away enough. Cool. So our next mover is our Grasshopper, and we are going to just sprint it up over this way into cover and call that good. We'll sink a little heat.
Commander.
Our Rifleman is not going to be able to fire just yet. We can position right up over here and sink
Full
heat.
speed. No target.
Allied Hunchback moves up and does not fire. And this is going to be that Trebuchet at this point. Okay. Noted. So we're running low on ammo in our Centaur. We need to remember that. Our Centaur's backstabbing is not going to be at full efficacy. That's okay. It doesn't have to be. At this point, our Centaur is going to advance up the road to about here.
I am moving in.
There we go. Allied Cyclone moves up a bit, and our crossbow can now get into position here. I kind of want to hit the Whitworth. Actually, the Chameleon. The Chameleon is the better option here. We'll soften up the Chameleon, because I don't necessarily want to be hitting this guy, the Sentinel, unless it's with the hoplite, which can move right now. So I want to fire the Thumper Artillery right here.
Got it.
Okay. Good hits there. Unfortunately, it doesn't take out the Sentinel. I would have preferred that the Sentinel no longer exist. But it is definitely significantly weakened. I want to get the Rifleman up into LOS, so we're just going to continue to sprint forward with that.
What can I do
Our
for you?
Trebuchet is, I think, fine where it's at. Checking these hit odds. Technically, the highest hit odds are the Sentinel. So we'll go for that, and that's very likely a kill.
Tell me what to shoot.
Yeah, there we go. One dead Sentinel.
Gotcha.
And that Chameleon is definitely getting softened up. There's no doubt about that. That Firestarter moves forward, and our Shadowhawk is going to position about here.
Copy that.
And we can lob some MRMs at the Whitworth or at the Chameleon. Hit odds are slightly higher on the Chameleon, so we'll go with that.
Engaging.
That Chameleon's armor is quite low. It won't last too much longer, but it does not break with that salvo.
I'm receiving you.
Okay. The Grasshopper is going to move down into the water here for now. We just want to get closer with it. So that seems absolutely fine. Phase 14 is going to be this Griffin firing on the Chameleon. Okay, it missed the PPC, but it got a missile hit or two. Not that great. Next up is that Whitworth closing in, attacking our Centaur and getting nothing done, but that's only a medium laser, so we don't really expect too much out of that. That was really just a pot shot.
Wait your command.
Our Black Knight can position up over here, and we could have eyes on this Whitworth. Or we could get closer, and that's what I'm going to do for now. This feels like it's too long range of a shot. We're going to need to start moving out of our line of fire here, but the road goes conveniently that direction, so that's all good. Little bit more damage into that Chameleon. The Chameleon is moving phase 8, so it's going to move very soon. I don't think we have any additional movers. No, that's all of ours. Okay. So this is going to be, I think, the Trebuchet at this point. He's just chilling back here, lobbing some missiles at the Centaur. Okay, whatever. That is absolutely fine. And then next up is an allied unit. That Hunchback attacking the Chameleon, getting no damage there. Okay. Another Word of Blake unit moving now. What do you got? Scorpion LRM moves up and gets 4 damage into the Chameleon. Sure. Now the Chameleon finally gets to move, and it has sustained serious damage. There isn't really a good move for it. We'll see what it does. Positions down in the water and attacks our crossbow. Okay. Like I said, there isn't really a good move for it, so that's fine. I don't mind that. Okay, next up is going to be our Centaur. And I kind of want to reserve the Centaur to see if this Whitworth continues to move forward. So I'm going to do that for now, reserving the Centaur a bit. But the crossbow, I do want to position here and fire on this chameleon, which is already thoroughly softened
Locked
up.
on target.
Structure exposure there. We got an engine crit and an engine core crit. Unfortunately, we didn't get a destruction. And now it's the Centaur, which I'm going to reserve again.
Let them make the first mistake.
Firestarter attacking the Whitworth. Okay. I would love to see this Whitworth close in and engage further. That's why we are reserving the Centaur. The hoplite gets to move now, and I kind of want to soften up this trebuchet a little bit, to be honest.
Attacking from position.
The trebuchet is out of LRM, so it looks like. So the trebuchet might emerge and come out this way, which would be great. We'd be very happy. We do get knocked down with that shot. But, I mean, we've had good luck with that, so that's fine. I don't mind that. Are we bleeding out? Nope. Okay, sounds good. So they're also firing at the trebuchet. That's not great. I would prefer that those LRMs go at one of these two.
Commander.
But our Shadowhawk can now advance to about here.
Hauling off.
And I would like to fire, I think the Whitworth is the choice here. We can fire more weapons. It's the same hit odds. So we can potentially reduce additional armor firing here. We need to get closed in on this thing, though, right? It doesn't move until phase 10. So the Hunter moves up, fires at the Trebuchet. I still don't like that choice, but its armor is getting whittled down by this. Bit by bit. I mean, it's got quite a lot of armor left, but it is getting reduced. So the Rifleman can position about here. That will be a sprint, and so our hit odds here aren't going to be great. But let's see what we got. We hit one of those PPCs. Okay. Pilot did panic, but has not yet ejected. Cyclone firing on the Whitworth. Okay. Missing everything, so that's not all that great.
Standing by.
Next up would be our Grasshopper, and the Grasshopper would want to position somewhere around here.
Going full throttle.
These are absolutely horrific hit odds, and I'm not going to take them. So that's fine for now.
Good to go.
Next up would be our Trebuchet, and the Trebuchet would need to position... Okay, I guess we'll just have to position here. And fire on the Whitworth. Unless hit odds are by some miracle better on the Chameleon. No, they're not. So, they're actually best on the Trebuchet. Remarkable. I would not have expected that. Well, we'll lob some missiles up there and get some armor reduction. I'd love to see the Trebuchet exit that area. It's going to move now, so, or actually after this Scorpion. So we'll see what ends up happening with the Trebuchet. Does it leave that little divot that it's settled itself in? It'd be great to see. Yeah, it climbs the hill. I like it. That's really solid. Shoots at our Shadowhawk. Not very concerning. Not very concerning at all. So next up is going to be our Black Knight. The Black Knight can absolutely move in and just start engaging these guys. Hit odds are finest on the Trebuchet, so we'll take that.
Target equipped.
Managed to hit one of those. Looked like a CT hit. I like it. And we're just going to slowly, inexorably advance and remove these guys from the field. I would like to see that Chameleon be dead. Unfortunately, it's not yet. So we need to reserve the Centaur still. Now the Whitworth and the Chameleon can move, and we'll see what they end up doing. Then we'll determine what to do with our Centaur. Okay, it moves a bit forward and fires on the Shadowhawk. That's fine. I don't mind that at all. Would have preferred that it be up over here, maybe even try to melee the Shadowhawk, because then we could get behind it with the Centaur. But this is fine. This is absolutely fine for the moment. Next up is going to be the Chameleon, and the Chameleon is in serious danger right now. We'll see what it does. Jumping? No, it just walks a little forward. Also goes for the Shadowhawk. Gets a fair amount of damage into that side arc for 6 evasive, but how are we doing in that side arc? Yeah, we could definitely be concerned about the side arc there.
Orders.
At this point, the Centaur is going to advance up the road to about here. And I'd like to eliminate the Chameleon. Wow, only 27% hit odds? Failed our sensor roll. Okay. It's bad hit odds no matter what we do. I'm not going to fire the SRMs. We're just going to potshot the micro lasers. We don't hit any of them.
Break 'em.
I mean, with a failed sensor roll, what are you going to do? That is really unfortunate. I mean, it's not by any means the end of the world, but it definitely will prolong them a bit. So we can step forward with our crossbow here, and this is basically a guaranteed kill on the Chameleon. Yeah, this is a guaranteed kill on the Chameleon.
All weapons are go.
There we go.
Warrior.
One
Show
down.
'em what you got.
Well, technically that's 2 down. Okay, and next up, when do these guys move? Phase 13 and 14 respectively? Sure. So this Griffin moves up, lobs some missiles at the Trebuchet, gets very little done there. That's fine. When do we move our Centaur? Right now
Got
is the
my
answer.
attention.
Okay, beautiful. Rear arc on the Whitworth seems pretty good. So we can position it here. Ooh, failed our sensor roll twice in a row? Oh, man. Okay, well, in that case, I'm not going to fire the SRMs. We'll just soften up the rear arc of this Whitworth. I think we missed all of those. 2 failed sensor rolls in a row on the Centaur. That is really gross. Well, the Hunter's going to move up and fire on that Trebuchet. That's a structure exposure. So yeah, the Trebuchet's armor has definitely been getting chipped down, but that's just in the arm. It's not that big of a deal. But it is definitely getting a lot lower, that armor. So now they're going to get to move this Whitworth. And where is that going to go? Backing off. Shooting at our Centaur with a medium laser. Okay, that's absolutely fine. I think our fire support focuses on the Trebuchet from here.
Waiting for orders.
So this is our Trebuchet up here. You are in LOS right now. Looks good. Yep, fire on their Trebuchet. Okay, LRM ammo destruction. We definitely pierced the armor there. It is unsteady, and that's really good. Unfortunately, it gets to move this round, so the Scorpion is going to sensor lock the Whitworth and then fire on that Trebuchet. The Trebuchet gets to move immediately, so we don't really get to utilize that unsteady, which is sad. Very sad indeed. But what are you going to do, Trebuchet? You've got very little armor.
I'm
Step
getting
down.
outmaneuvered.
Attacking the Centaur? Okay. I don't care about that. Fire support continues to go for this guy. Absolutely. So next up would be our Shadowhawk, who actually I think also is going to be going for the Trebuchet here. We can position in this side arc, which this is kind of its strong side. Did we just fail another sensor roll? No, we didn't. Okay, good to know. We're just going to have some crappy hit odds here. That's fine. So we'll soften up the side armor of this Trebuchet, which was the strong side. Emphasis on was, because it's not anymore. There no longer is a strong side. This Whitworth is getting attacked. I don't like that choice. They should have gone for the Trebuchet. Next up is our Rifleman. And we'll just position here and continue to potshot this Trebuchet. Hit odds are a bit low, so I'm not going to fire the large laser. Heat is a bit high as well. We missed all of those. I mean, that was only 20% hit odds, so I'm not shocked about that, but it's worth a shot. There's something funky going on with the sound, though. I noticed that a moment ago. Good thing this mission is nearly over, because I'll be restarting the game after this no matter what. So, yeah, sound is definitely funky. Okay, I'm going to move the Black Knight down over here so that we hopefully don't stray shot the Centaur. And we'll attack the Trebuchet.
Confirmed.
Yeah, there's definitely weirdness going on with that sound. Okay. Very strange. I have no explanation for this other than this has been a really long mission. But we can move the Grasshopper up over here. I kind of don't want to fire at the Trebuchet with the Grasshopper. I'm going to fire at the Whitworth It's a little bit safer for our Centaur. Emphasis on little. We end up not stray-shotting the Centaur, but we don't hit the AC, which is sad. We're going to have our hoplite stand up. The question is, do we want to fire the Thumper artillery at this trebuchet? Honestly, I kind of feel like we maybe just brace the hoplite and let its heat sink. There we go. Okay, so the crossbow is going to position up over here. I'm going to go for the kill on the trebuchet here. It's still alive. Those hit odds were not phenomenal. Cyclone moves up and does not fire at anything at all. Okay, so the Centaur is going to go for the rear arc attack on this Whitworth, which currently has no evasive. We're going to hop over into the rear arc. Melee mode. Can we grab one of these, please? Apparently not. The game does not appear to be allowing us to melee from back here. So I guess we'll just have to position here. I would have preferred to melee this. We'll just have to position here and fire rear arc. We could still kill the Whitworth with this.
Aye, aye. Follow my lead.
But we didn't. Okay. That's fine. We've got the Shadowhawk here, so I'm not too concerned about it. Okay. Phase 16, we're going to have an allied unit moving. And where are they going to go? The Griffin is going to move up and fire on the Whitworth. I don't love that choice, but okay. Next up is our Shadowhawk. And the Shadowhawk is going to come in to the rear arc of the Whitworth. Is this rear arc here? Yes, it is. We can absolutely melee from here, and this should kill the Whitworth. Successful melee attack. I like it. Okay, and that's one dead Whitworth. We need to finish this up. I've got a bit of a feeling that the game might crash soon. We need to kill that trebuchet. The Scorpion moves up. The trebuchet should die very quickly, though, if we can get solid hit odds on it. That's the main concern right now. So we need to put our trebuchet about here. This is a little out of range, but that's fine. We're going to fire on it and see what we get done here. Shoulder destruction, our LRM-15 destruction. I mean, it doesn't have ammo for that, but that's fine. Next up is going to be our Grasshopper, which I would really like to see close in out over this flank. These hit odds are still low. We're still out of range, but we'll see what we get done there. Ooh, we did hit the autocannon. So that's very solid. And the trebuchet ejects. Okay, let's get out of here. Fantastic. Hopefully the audio will, well, it's probably not going to fix itself. It might when we unload here, but we're going to be restarting the game anyway after this episode. So it is very much time to put a cut in. That was a very long mission, and this ended up being a pretty long episode. I just didn't want to split this into 3 episodes. That would have been, I feel like, a little too much. But here we are. And now I'm kind of wishing that I had. Hey, we've got music back anyway. So 456,000, we don't get all that much payment, but we do get a fair amount of salvage. We eliminated a lot of enemies, but that could have gone a lot worse. Okay, so these are Ifrit parts here. Or there are some Seth parts here. And that's what I'm taking. All we're going to need is 1 additional Seth part after this. So that's fantastic. Anything else that we get is just a bonus. Let's go. So that's a lot of various parts. Trebuchet parts, Whitworth, chem lasers, light PPC, a combat shield. That's pretty cool. Engine core 250, jump jets, standard heatsink cooling, thermal vision. Cool. And LRM ammo. We've already got plenty of that. So that's all fine for now. What we're mostly after is that Seth. I don't think we had any other Seth parts, but we can check. We have run into other Seths. So we might be able to convert the part if we got one. I'm not sure if we have one or not, though. Either way, next Seth we run into, it's going to be ours. And that's going to be really handy. Those heavy bombers are very, very useful. So that'll be absolutely great. In fact, I'd kind of like to have our entire vehicle contingent be heavy bombers. That would be kind of nice. We've got like a Seth, an Ifrit, you know, something like that. Maybe like 2 Seths and 2 Ifrits. There are other heavy bombers, but those are kind of the big ones. Okay. So how much is this going to cost, Yang? 100,000. Not bad. Not bad at all. We covered our costs even. I like it. Let's hop in real quick into the mech bay and see if we have that extra Seth part. If we do, great. If we don't, well, next Seth we run into. Let's see here. Those are stealth parts. It's a 55-ton. Seth, stealth, VTOL. So that's 4 out of 5 there. And we definitely can't make it. So we don't have any other Seth parts. That's okay. Next time we run into one, we'll get it. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Andy McGar, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12UK, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.